I will tell you, I started my business 24 years ago in July. I guess I did kind of tell that as I introduced myself this morning, but I started really not knowing what it was I was here for. My sister, Melinda, Amy's first offspring director, recruited me. She had come home from seminar and she said, Krista, I don't know if this is going to be anything you're interested in. She said, I don't even know if it's going to work for me, but you got to give it a try. Because what if it is? What if it's the best thing that you've ever done? And whether I come alongside you or not, you know, it might be the best gift ever. And my daughter was 2 months old at the time, and I so wanted to be home with her. I was a child care provider before Mary Kay, so I took care of everybody else's babies. And then when I had my own, I couldn't have my own baby in my room, so she was down the hall from me. Well, it was a blessing to have her within eyeshot for the most part. It was still not having her in my arms. And Amy said I was an I, I'm an SI. Yeah. So there's not very many, you know, S's is kind of a unique one to climb the path. But I'm here to tell you, all you S's in the room that are very family oriented and that, you can do it. Right? I can do it, you so can do it. Okay? I have this little thing when I start talking, my mouth gets stressed. I have to drink water. I don't know what that is. Probably because I never thought I was going to stand in front of a room and talk.
Well, we get rid of a lot of water when we talk.
Yep.
So we do get
Yeah, you speech pathologists.
Exactly.
Thank you for that tip.
Yeah. So it's not just you.
It isn't. You might notice it, but don't ever let that slow you down or stop you either. But when I started Mary Kay and when I first became a Red Jacket, it was very difficult for me to even stand up in the front of the room and say my name. I don't know why I'm sharing this, but if any of you even had dreams where you'll be having a Mary Kay dream and all of a sudden you have like all this gum in your mouth and you can't even get it out. It is the weirdest thing ever. I think that's what that is. But not too long ago, I was studying some in a Bible study on the saints and Saint Hildegard. She was one that was always nervous to talk in front of people. And she really, I think, in studying that, unlocked something in my brain that it was, the time is now, and when you feel that nervousness, you just need to lean into it, press into it, because you're supposed to. That is the gift. And that we feel the fear and we do it anyway. So, that's just a little side note I'm sharing with you, but I have loved every minute. Andy shared a lot about that mindset, and that had prepared me in the beginning years. I was in the company for 2 years before I became a Red Jacket, the new Red Jacket following me. Wonderful. Any of you that have been in your Red Jacket 5+ years? You don't have, you know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Here's what I want to share with you. Red Jackets in our company that are driving free cars, or they're making a great extra income, or even their primary income. So don't ever let that be like, gosh, I'm not where I want to be. Is anybody right now where they want to be? No. Good. I'm so glad. That's great. Right? We all, I think, as we maneuver and walk through this life, we're all, if we're living it well, trying to get to the next place, better ourselves, right? Angie gave you some great foundation on that and how to keep this healthy, because Melinda used to always tell us too, the most important thing is the 6 inches between your ears. Okay, so we don't always have control of the first thought that comes in our mind, but we definitely have control of how we respond to it. When I heard that unlocked something for me too, because I thought, well, why am I thinking like that? Well, I don't know. We don't need to analyze that. That thought comes in, but then think of it in a positive light as soon as you can. I always told my children, as they both grew up, I have 2 daughters in Mary Kay, that I think every day before they got out of my car on the way to school, treat others how you would want to be treated. We cannot ever switch places with anybody else, and most times we don't want to walk in anybody else's shoes and the things that they've gone through. But you do need to have that thought process of, well, what would they do? You know, what would they want if they were me, or how would I want to be treated in this situation? Because there's always 2 sides to every story too. I would tell you that that has been very, very powerful. But even as Red Jackets, another step you can take that thought is to ask yourself, how would I act, or how would I be if Mary Kay was in the room? Okay, that's a little bit on that privilege of being a red jacket, owning who we are, becoming sales directors. How would you walk into the room if Mary Kay were here? And if you'd be not so confident or that, or, then there's maybe some things we need to look at internally that we need to take a look at and fix, as we are, that work in progress all the time, right? Back when I debuted as a sales director, which was 15 years ago in September. So getting back to, I do jump around, I have a lot of I in me, I will say, Amy was right. But in my story, in that 15, or the 2 to 15 years, I was a red jacket for 9 of my 24 years, okay? So there's hope, it doesn't matter, and you don't have to feel bad about, gosh, I've been in for this long and I still haven't even got there yet, okay? We are learning every step of the way who we are and what it takes to get there. Might be fast for one person, might be not for you, but the thief of joy is what? Comparison. So we got to get out of our own head and look at what we're doing and not worry about what other people are doing around us. Because if they're successful, you can copy their actions and all that, but just be who you are. Okay. So when I debuted 15 years ago, I just earned my car, and then the girls were in school, all that. Life was really great, but I have had lots of obstacles along the way. So I would tell you, one of my mantras always was from the beginning when I decided to move into a leadership position about that 2-year mark in. My daughter was really sick as a 2-year-old. She had an antibiotic-resistant bacteria. They told us we needed to make some life decisions. We needed to get her out of daycare. And I had been a provider and didn't know what was going on. So we did that, but that's when I decided to kick it in gear. So sometimes there's something in your life that pushes you to make that next decision. If we're comfortable, life is good. Sometimes we don't always want to step up and step out of that. Why would we need to, right? Life's good, but we can stay stuck in that life is good place. And there's always that part of you that maybe wants to say that I want this. Then own that person, own that sleeping giant within you. I felt like a lot of times that people would say that to me, Krista, you're so strong, you're so powerful. I had to own that confidence. And then the other one thing that it really boiled down to was belief. Belief in yourself. Okay, and I even said to Melinda as I was closing in, I was in and out of DIQ a few times and couldn't quite figure that part out. And I was doing what I needed to be doing. She said, you're doing it. It's just God's working on your strength muscle, your tenacity. There's some refining, maybe even some pruning that needs to happen. That's biblical. Okay? I can't tell you where or any of that, but I do know that it is. Because in order to have you grow, sometimes you gotta cut back and just let him do his thing and just be peaceful in the moment. But my mantra in that was one thing Mary Kay every day. If I couldn't get my power hour or some of the different things in, I did one thing every day, because it is the tortoise and the hare and the compound effect. As long as you're moving forward and doing what you need to do, you'll get there. So believe that you will, right? I remember laughing at her and saying, if one more person tells me that you just gotta believe, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Because I was feeling like I believed it, but there is something to that belief. It is knowing without a shadow of a doubt, acting as if until you become. Not being fake in there, but just knowing that you're gonna get there, and then working as if. And if the things that look like they're not coming together, it often is falling apart in the background. But as long as you're staying in action, the rest will fall into place, and God will bless your chase. when you're in movement, when you're in action, that dispels the doubt. And then you can hold your head high and know that something's coming together. You might have been a star consultant, you get a hit on your website from somebody that you didn't even know. That's a blessing. You are talking to somebody, delivering product at somebody's office, looking sharp, looking the part, right? Always with your Mary Kay face on. When I go into offices, I always have my skirt on too. I know there's times when I make deliveries, if I'm putting a product on somebody's door, then I might have pants on or whatever. But if they're gonna see me, I look the part. And that has always come back to benefit me, okay? But in that knowing that it's gonna come together, you're doing the work, there's refining, there's processes that are happening, just don't quit. Keep moving forward, okay? The other thing, when you're arriving at Red Jackets, it's just a little bit of, you're all here, you're all looking slanted. When you go to your meetings, wear your red jacket. Your director wants to see you in your red jacket. She wants the other people that are there, that are coming in, to see that it's possible, that somebody's doing it, that we're moving up the career path. It's important. Even if you just gotta slip it on, and everything else may not be all together what you know, the company attire is, having that on and owning that position and feeling good about it, even if it has been 9 years that you've been wearing it, or 20, or 30, whatever, you know, it is a great position. All right. So I have a few things I want to share with you in that belief and the activity that you put together into place to get you to the next phase is what? Putting product on people. Put product on people. We're gonna pop out in January, put product on people over and over. I believe that there are people that you can recruit immediately from just going out and meeting them and asking them to hear the opportunity. But I feel like the strongest consultants you'll have on your team are those that are closest to the product and watch the process happen. Okay? Parties are the way to the top. I'm even speaking that into my own mind as I say, because I want to move to the next level. We're going to be a Cadillac unit and on. And where am I going to find those people? Have my parties. So one thing that I ran with when I was in DIQ and working my way up was to do a year-long hostess program. To find a hostess, she was my hostess 4 times in the calendar year. She just had to have 4 new people. She'd always get at least $100 in product, and it was during new product introductions, okay? Oftentimes on your, I think on the profile part, does it still say how often do you want to be contacted?
Yes.
Okay, so if they put, someone put monthly, some put bi-monthly, or someone put a new product introduction. Well, there's your girls. They love the new stuff. They want to be part of that stuff. And then they have a party 4 times in the year. Oftentimes a few friends would come back every time, or somebody in that mix would have the next party. So I have probably half of my personal team that's still with me from the very beginning were those that had that year-long hostess program. Because here's what I would do. If they had that 4 parties in the year, then they would get the opportunity to purchase 25% off that following year. More times than not, somebody out of that group became a consultant, and she got her own discount. She got 50% off because she saw that process. She saw money change hands. She saw how that worked, and then she didn't have to figure it out. She knew how to do it. She'd have a party, have a hostess, and work it that way, okay? Any questions about that? I know that that's a big thing.
So if she says she wants to be the hostess for 4 times,
Mhm.
you would give them $100.
If she had 4 new people
Yes.
each time, she could get that amount of product free.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah. The other hostess program, here's the question I want you to ask yourself. Would I book for my hostess program? If your hostess program does not excite you and you would not have a party for that, then you need to fix it. Okay? There's lots of ideas out there. I don't know about you, but putting yourself out there, sometimes you gotta put yourself in the position of a hostess well, we only need to have 4 to 6 women present, and other just direct selling companies out there need to have, you have to invite 40 or 50 people to get a few to show up. I love the personal satisfaction of ours. It's just a few people there for that personal service, but it is still putting yourself out there. And some women, that's intimidating for them because they want to not have any friends that show up. And we become a little bit immune to that because we have girlfriends everywhere, because we have the best business, best opportunity out there, right? So be sensitive to that, but that they, you know, at different times they would bring other people in, they would have that. So that worked really well because then you are meeting those new people. We're always asking for referrals at every party, because that way if it doesn't continue to go on, then you have those names to follow up on. I think referrals are the best way at a party to get your leads, because you're going to walk out there. I always have an instant gift if they give me 10 or more names. If I was going to go do a booth, or if I'm going to go do facial boxes, run around town putting facial boxes out or whatever, I'm going to spend at least $1 or $2 a name for everyone you're going to get, right? So if you train yourself, teach yourself to ask that, get over your fear of asking for those names, it's going to serve you over and over again. I'm a product of very few warm chaps, so if any of you are scared of that, you can still get to the top without doing that. And I say to the top, to the directorship position, because I clearly am not at the top, but you know.
Samples, use your samples, because
Yeah.
I warm chatted everybody I met in Colorado, you know, by just having a business card and
Yes,
sample.
and if that's your gift and that's your strength, samples are awesome. I always have presents in my purse to give to the people that are providing the service to me, and I bless people with them all the time, not worrying about, even if I don't get their name in return, I'm just planting seeds, and all seeds bloom at different times, and they're all beautiful. All flowers are beautiful, right? Okay, so that hostess plan was one thing I did. I did the hostess for a year. It was the original. I don't know if she would be on that podcast thing. That was a new thing I learned from Angie's class today. I didn't know. I probably figured that there's downloads. Be careful what you're listening to and who you're listening to, and Mary Kay people that have done what we're striving to do or working to do. That's what you want to feed your minds with. But Kathy Goff Brummett is who I got the idea from. She was an icon in this business. She was easy to listen to. Wasn't she Southern, I think, just sweet, made you want to have a party for her. The other hostess idea that I did that was always very highly successful for me, because I was excited to get one party from a person, you know, and sometimes I wanted to explain that whole thing until they're already there. Does that make sense? I didn't want to go necessarily into that whole four parties a year, but as they've been a hostess, I say, you know what, you can do this again at each product introduction and ease them into that, not throw it all out there and have them be like, oh my gosh, no, let's just get through one first, can we? You know, so they have that success that first time, then you can use that to build upon. Because if they put new product introduction on their profile card, sometimes you feel like you can't contact them again until that happens. So you don't want to miss out on those connections that way, because you don't want to wear out your welcome either. All right. So the other ones I did, as I backtrack, 75 for 25. I got 5 minutes. Oh my gosh, it goes so fast. You think, how am I going to fill the time? All right. I told you I didn't like to talk in front of people and look at me go. I just can't even stop. I even told my speech professor that I will never have a position where I stand up and talk in front of people. I got different plans for you. I did get an A in the class, but anyway, 75 for 25, a sweetheart of a deal. Just a little off from what the company promotes. That's 75 for 40, 35?
35.
35. Okay, I had to think. Because I've always done 75 for 25. I call it a sweetheart of a deal. It's Valentine's Day. People want to know how they can get $50 free, right? That's you know, half your miracle set right there. So easy.
Can I ask a question?
You can.
Do you have certain requirements in order to get that, like how many guests or anything?
You know, I've gone both ways. I really, with that one, I don't hold too many things. 3 people is usually my bottom bar. But I feel like if we're a little bit generous, it will come back to you, maybe not at that party, but that costs us $12.50. Okay, if you have a 75 for 25 and you don't sell another dime, it costs you $12.50. It's not gonna happen. You ladies are red jackets, you're in this room, you know what you're doing. Be strong in your clothes. If you don't feel like your clothes is strong, it's a different class, but ask your director. Or go to when she's doing the clothes at your success meetings and watch that process. If you sometimes directors will have breakout and you go into different areas. And if you really want to hear it, the best way to hear it is take a guest or 5 to your success meeting so you can hear your director close to those that are there. It's always better to have more than one. This flows better. Bring multiples, okay? And then the one other one that I did was hostess for the price of the day. They did a filled custom compact for the price of the day. So if they booked their party on the 5th of January, they got it for $5 when they had $100 in sales and 4 people present. Okay? That one always served me too, because I knew that if I got in front of the people, I could close them. And then you gotta figure out, what your face average is. So when you kind of know how much you're selling to each person, kind of what you need to do to hit those marks, to reach the goals, to make the money to put in your pocket, to provide for your family the things that you want to do, okay? So, if we doubt, we go without, right? So action builds belief, it builds your confidence, it builds everything. Your pocketbook, action builds, okay? I think that's pretty much most of what I had. Angie talked about the work on you. Belief will help too when you work on you, so I don't need to go back over that. Quiet time, help. Watch what you're feeding your mind. No crazy news stories over and over. Watch your Facebook time. Really, social media is a whole nother animal.
A whole nother class, right?
It really is. One that we need to continue to work on as we build and grow, but, yeah, for sure. So, all right.